Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness, down the river of tranquility, to fill the lake of life with love.
And good evening, our fellow lovers of love. While I figure out what the heck is playing. There it goes. There we go. Well, I can solve that problem that way for a minute. All right. Somewhere is an open tab. I can't. Isn't technology grand? So here's how I'll solve this problem. I'll close everything. Hold on. I'm going to have to edit this intro, but you guys get to see what happens when things go right and wrong and the whole 9 yards. And that should take care of it. Okay. That was a new one. All right. Yeah, we fixed it. I don't know which one I closed has worked, but it closed. It worked. All right. Okay, welcome back, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on this episode of Late Night Love as we dive into the complexities of parenting, work, and relationships, from navigating the shock of an 18-year-old son moving in with a much older friend to dealing with a toddler who suddenly seems to hate you after a new baby arrives. And we cover it all. We also tackle workplace dilemmas like handling a boss who complains about bathroom breaks and dealing with the narcissistic coworkers. In the relationship segment, we discuss emotional turmoil of an ex who wants to give up custody of their kids and how to handle a partner who invades your privacy. So tune in and we'll see what comes of this complex set of questions the dear Lubby dug up.
I told you it was good stuff.
Dug up with us tonight. And I personally am a little overstimulated, so I actually had the nice day off. It's been a busy week. I got one more week left of, working at a fair. So we shall see what happens next Saturday. I actually have today off from that. So thanks to all my compatriots out there doing the hard work. I think Rodney's out there right now. It's entirely possible that I actually get a phone call that I have to answer halfway through the show. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay.
All right. So let's just start off with parenting. I'm going to slow down before we don't have enough time to fill a show. I'll answer all the questions. Let's go. Let's move. And next thing you know, we'll be done and it'll be a half an hour show and we'll have gone through too much. So maybe these technical issues are good. And it's going to get hot in here, though. So that's another problem. We've got...
It probably will get up to in the 90s. Yeah.
Nah, it doesn't get that hot in here. It'll get in the mid 80s. But it'll feel warm. We're under lights. We got all these lights and stuff hitting us. Even if it's not as hot, it feels hotter. All right. That's just pointing it out because if we turned on the air conditioner, which we do have, it'd just be really loud and annoying for you guys.
It really is. That's too loud.
All right. So let's go.
All right. My son, 18, moved in with my friend, 48. Yes, romantically.
That is kind of creepy, isn't it?
It is creepy. I can't imagine.
I mean, they are 18, but at the same time, you begin to wonder about their relationship over the last few years. How long is something has or hasn't been going on? Even though it doesn't necessarily mean that there was anything going on, but it would make you wonder. But he is 18. What are you really going to do about it? I don't know. That's one that, I don't know.
Well, I would be cordial. I would be warm to a certain degree.
Well, okay, well, let's flip
Go
gender.
ahead.
Let's say it's your 18-year-old daughter.
It's you really gotta.
It's just saying I'm not entirely sure how I would handle it myself. So I don't know. That's one of those things where you could sit here and you could talk about what your answer would be, but it actually doesn't necessarily mean that's how you would respond when you dealt with it in real life.
Well, the flip side is that you could, do a moral stand and say, this is wrong, and I'm going to have nothing to do with it.
Could.
And you risk losing your son.
Yeah, there's consequences. Actions have consequences. But then again, maybe they should. I don't know. That's a difficult one because you don't know. And how much do you want to know? I suppose if it had started too early, you'd want to know because that's a different thing than if it just kind of one of those things that starts at I don't know, 18th birthday party or something stupid. Yeah. I don't know. There's no way that that's not creepy. That's all I'm gonna leave that with that there's just no way it's not creepy. And what do you do moving forward is going to depend on your personality and circumstances. But it's just creepy. All right.
Okay. My kid refuses to try and shuts down. He's 10.
Okay.
And he doesn't even want to try.
Because he's afraid of failing and he'd rather not try than fail. Something has made him afraid of failing. And so start with smaller things. That would be my suggestion. You're going to have to build up his confidence. And at some point, you're going to have to encourage him to fail so he can learn to pick himself back up, because that's the hard part of failing. It's not the failure. It's having to pick yourself back up. And maybe he's failed too many times. Who knows? Maybe there's bullies at school and, he's one of those kids that, and we don't know exactly what he's trying or not trying. Didn't really say.
Just he won't try anything new. He just has his own routine, his video games, and that's it.
Well, that's part of being 10. It's part of that. They'll grow out of part of that because they'll get bored with the old things and they'll start looking for new things. But I also suspect that there's some fear of failure. You're competent at what you're doing. Why are you going to move on when failure comes with consequences? Rather than part of the educational journey, part of life's journey, especially at 10, is you're going to fail a lot. You've never done any of this stuff before. How many times do I succeed the first time we do anything? It rarely happens. I mean, it's not that it never happens, but it rarely happens. So learning to deal with that is difficult. So I might want to think, okay, so is there anything I'm doing as a parent that makes it difficult for him to fail? That he would choose? And maybe there's not, or not recently anyway. That you can. So in that case, you try to build a more supportive environment. Maybe point out to him how often you fail when you try things. Be more open about your own successes and failure.
Okay. Yeah.
You can relate a little bit. It's all right. He doesn't need to see you as Superman or Supermom, right? That's not what he needs. He needs to see you as an example. And part of that life example is teaching them how to fail with grace, pick up, you clean up your mess, you move on, and you get better. And if you don't show that to him, if you're a perfectionist, you kind of forget that they don't get to see the process, how many times you fail. as a perfectionist, right? You fail all the time. That's just how it goes. And so,
Wasn't it Thomas Edison who said I failed many more times
oh,
than I
yeah.
have succeeded?
Anybody, take any inventor, go talk to Elon Musk, any of these guys. It doesn't matter who. Anybody who's invented something successful, yeah, they'll have failed. Or how many times they failed in the process to success. How many thousands of failures did Edison have to make before he found success? Right. Ultimately, he found success, but how many times did he fail in that process? So, or what appeared like failures, but what they really were lessons. They look like failure, but they're lessons. So, try to figure out how to educate your son that, failure's okay. There are lessons on life's journeys. And that might start with the person in the mirror. So, okay, what's next?
Toddler hating you after having a baby?
Well, yeah, it's you've brought this other thing into their right. They were the center of the world, and now they're not. Now, what's going to happen is it was going to happen anyway, because that's what happens when you're a toddler, right? You're no longer really the center of the world. Everybody, baby, center of the world. And as a toddler, that's when you start to lose that, right? The more independence, the more you're able to walk, the more you're able to do things of yourself. The consequence of that is you get less attention because you need less. And so, yeah, now all your attention is on the new baby. And so he's not happy with you. It's all right. He'll get over it. Most of them do. I'm not going to say all of them do, because there's some people that are still mad that you had their sister, or brother. It happens. 50 years old, they're still mad, on their deathbed. I'm still mad that mom had you. It's not that I don't love you. I'm just still mad that mom had you. Stuff exists. It does. It's all right. It's natural in some extent. If you think about it from a evolutionary perspective, you're taking resources. That infant is taking resources that a toddler used to get. From a pure instinctive animal's perspective, yeah, you're not going to be happy about it. So, we're still animals, especially at 2. So, just saying. All right, what's next?
How late is too late to send thank you cards after baby shower?
It's never too late.
It really isn't.
You might want to say, apologies for waiting too long. I got caught up in life, and just send the thank you. They'll appreciate it, even if it's 2 years later. Trust me.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Send one a day until you can get caught up.
Ooh, that's an excellent idea.
That's all you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you might want to start with the most, easiest offended. Just send those first, and then you pick with the people who are most, relaxed about the thing. Send those last. You can kind of pick and choose, but yeah, just do one a day. And you'll do more than one a day. You'll sit down and you bang out 10 one day, and then a few days later you'll bang out 10 more. But set a goal of one a day. At least make sure you do one a day. If you get 10 done, hey, then you can take a week off. But do one a day. All right.
Girlfriend gives 3-year-old iPad all day long. Okay, now what the girlfriend is, what the mom is doing is doing a show and then doing an educational video with the child.
Yeah.
And then the child gets to watch a show, and then that's how their day is structured.
Yeah, it's probably not as all day as you think it is. A 3-year-old will get bored with an iPad just like they'll get bored with anything else. It's no longer something new and special. It's just a thing, which is a good, right? They want to move on to something else. They want to go and play with a doll eventually because it's just a thing to them. It's no different than the doll, right? Mm-hmm. So my guess is it's probably not as all day long as you think it is, but yes, it's the reward, educate, reward method. It's fine. I'm fine with it. It's, especially if she's thinking about it. I'm willing to let parents have a lot of grace. So many parents would not thinking about how it's using at all. And so as long as they have a plan, hey man, you've got a plan and you're trying to execute it. It's great. You're ahead of most parents. You're ahead of half of parents. So the chances that you will eventually have success are pretty dang good, right?
Yeah.
Maybe this may or may not work for this particular family. I have no idea. But the fact that she has a plan, I'm all for. She's got a plan. She's executing it. It exponentially increases the chance of success. So I'd kind of trust her. She's got a plan. Trust her. It's not mindless. I'd be more worried if it was mindless.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
5-month-old won't sleep at all.
And that's a colicky baby. At 5 months. That's a colicky baby.
Colic.
And they do grow out of it. So there is that. But find out what that is. Colicky is also sometimes a signal of pain. They may have a hernia or something that's hurting them, and you don't know. We figured that out when ours was we'd squish him, and he'd feel better. But what we was actually doing was just putting a little hernia back in place. So it may be a sign of something, and it may not. But go get them checked out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I feel for you. Every parent who has been through that feels for you. We all do. Car seats on top of dryers, washing machines can help. Driving them around in the back seat of the car, sometimes that's helpful for some. So suggestions, and I wish you the best of luck, because there's nothing fun about that. But yeah, check with your doctor. Just make sure there's no hernia or something that's causing some pain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, my 6-year-old daughter lies a lot. Yeah, they go through a phase where they will lie, and
well, and you're gonna have to define lie.
They're in they live in a half fantasy world at 6 still.
Yeah, at 5 and 6, there's half their world is their imagination. And yes, they're also learning where boundaries are. They're learning how far they can push you with reality versus non-reality. Right? Hey, you can believe your non-reality all you want, but you're still paying the consequences for what happened. I don't care. It might be your imaginary friend's fault, but guess what? You're paying the consequences for it. And that's not my problem, and they'll learn. So the boundaries don't change, right? Just you reinforce the boundaries that, you can play along, you can not play along depending upon exact circumstances. But as long as those boundaries are still enforced, that there's still consequences for misbehavior, that, that, because there's a difference between a lie and them engaging in so we say, real-time role play. There's a difference, right? He's running around pretending he's a pirate, and he knocks over a lamp, and he's going to say, I did it, my imaginary, the pirate. Yeah, of course he is. That's not
the pirate did it.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a lie? Well, technically, but it's a more playful lie. It's vastly different than something else. So this is one of these things. This is what parents get paid for, right? These are the things where you have to make judgment calls. And but you have to make your judgment calls. Just have to make sure your child knows where his boundaries are, especially at 6. They need to know where their boundaries are, because they're always testing, and you have to be aware of that. Yeah. So, okay, so we are on to some work questions.
Okay, this one. Why are people so disgusting? She's talking about the company bathroom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It is. It's just disgusting. People are. They just are.
Yeah, hey, as someone who used to work as a janitor, office built bathrooms, they're generally fine, depending upon how many people have to use how few bathrooms, right? But generically speaking, they're easy cleans. Things like when you go to a department store, men's bathrooms, easy cleans. We argue over who has to clean the women's bathroom. No one wants to clean the women's bathroom, especially after like a big sale or something. Y'all, I don't know what y'all do in there. But good Lord.
Why?
I can't say it on the air. That's the problem. We are
sorry.
We are on KUBU 96.5 FM. You know, the FCC has regulations even at this time of night.
Okay.
It just say y'all are gross. And I know it's a percentage thing, right? You run enough people through, you're gonna get the 4%. And department stores, more women use bathrooms for longer. And yeah. Now nightclubs are a different story. Actually, the men's bathrooms tend to have more puke than the women's bathrooms do. But you just clean those off with hoses. You just hose those things out. It's a whole different type of cleaning. Yeah, they're designed. Yeah, you just hook up the hose and just hose things down. Then you clean them after they're hosed down. I'm hosing it down. Yeah. Oh man, I hated nightclubs. So it's just why? Because it's a percentage thing. There's a certain percentage, and you may have at your one particular office may have a higher percentage of people with hygiene issues. Maybe you have people from different cultures who have different hygiene standards, not because they're less clean, but because they have less opportunity for that to be culturalized. They don't have access to the clean water that we do. We can turn on the tap and get clean water, wash our hands and soap. That's a luxury in most of the world.
It is.
And so I think we need to be aware of that, especially if you're in places that have, you know, high cultural diversity. And the nice thing is they will acclimate. It's a human thing to want to learn to live cleaner. It just will happen over time. But the actually other thing, maybe you guys need a better janitorial service. A bad janitor can ruin an environment. It doesn't happen overnight, but 2 years of a bad janitorial service, your building can look disgusting and just start to feel creepy and disgusting, even if they clean it every night.
Huh.
Yeah, well, because they're just doing the basic, get it done, and then everything else starts to look stingy. You've got to have a schedule for everything, and everything has to be cleaned properly. And yeah. So I don't like doing it because once I start doing that thing, I end up doing it like a guiding janitor, and it's annoying. I cleaned too many things, spent too many time in the kitchen and cleaning things and whatnot. Too many years. Sometimes balancing 4 different jobs, right? So it was just crazy. Offices are okay. At this point, offices were fine. A lot of vacuuming though in offices, which is annoying. Hurts your ears. So you vacuum for 6 hours. You just put a vacuum pack on your backpack and you vacuum for 6 hours with a backpack. Yeah, it's annoying. Okay. What's next?
Would you be annoyed if you got your friend a job and they sort of fumbled it?
Annoyed? Sure. But these things happen, and it depends how he fumbled it. If he tried his best and he just wasn't good at it, well, it happens, right? That's different than if he came in and didn't give the effort and was a slacker and made you look bad from an effort perspective. That would be annoying. If you came in and tried and just was terrible at the job, I can live with that, right? Not all jobs are meant for all people. That's cool. But if you didn't try, that would be annoying because now you're just making me look bad. I don't think not succeeding, being made out for that job makes me look bad. But not putting the effort in to try to be good at the job makes me look bad. So, yes, I would be annoyed if I got a friend a job and they didn't try to be good at the job. If they were just not good at the job, it's cool. Not everybody can be a good janitor. Not everybody can be a good delivery driver. Not everybody can run a radio station. Not everybody can, organize a community organization, blah, 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 right? There's all kinds of things that not everybody can do. So not, as we talked about earlier, failure is the failure of the attempt, not being good. Okay, what's next?
Do you consider a meal with your boss? Boss complaining over excessive bathroom breaks. I have IBS.
Okay, this is one of those where it's going to be both. Need to find some way. You need to start feeling out how to deal with your IBS. You've got IBS. It doesn't mean you shouldn't maybe try to deal with it better. Eat your better diet, take your pills, whatever it is. Make sure you're doing what you should be doing so that your IBS doesn't interfere with your life. And at the same time, your boss needs to be tolerant of your medical conditions because it's the right thing to do. Forget all the laws and stuff. It's just the right thing to do from a human perspective, especially if you're doing the other thing. If you're taking care of yourself, and this is just what it is until it gets itself under control, or it wouldn't, then. But if you're just still sitting back eating Cheetos and spicy hot wings while complaining about your IBS, I would have think your boss would have every right to complain. I'm just pointing this out. You're actively making your condition worse versus, hey, I'm doing everything I can, but I'm still, dealing with this. Hey, I'll make every accommodation I can. No problems at all. But if, you're not making any effort on your part, because irritable bowel syndrome it's not something you can't do anything about. You can make it better. Maybe you can't solve it, but you can make it better over time, especially. So it depends on the details of exactly what's going on.
Well, I had IBS, and turns out it was too much dairy.
Yeah. So find out.
I became lactose intolerant.
Yeah. So
as I grew older. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the point, is maybe you should find out, hey, what's causing the IBS and start to deal with that side of it. And maybe ultimately it's not something you can do much about. And your boss is going to have to, learn to accommodate you. But if he's seeing you eating, spicy hot wings while complaining about IBS, he's got every reason to kind of wonder what's going on. Just saying. Okay, what's next?
Boss complaining over excessive bathroom. No. Do you consider a meal with your boss a good reward?
Well, personally, no, but I don't like eating things, but it's not actually a reward. You've got to think of it differently. It's a networking opportunity. We're not puppeteers, right? He probably has something he wants to discuss with you, or he wants to learn more about you because you're in line for a promotion and they want to see if you're the type of person they want to, there's reasons for these kind of things. And sure, maybe it is he'd simply, hey, John's been working hard. I want to show my appreciation, but there's nothing really in the budget, but I do have some entertainment budget left. And then, for morale budget, there's a little bit of money left. And so that may be all he does, right? You don't never know how budgets work on these kind of things. So he may want to be able to do more, but he just doesn't have the resources to do something. Yeah. He was expecting to take one more salesman out to lunch or something than he had to. And so now he's got room on his budget to take someone out to a nice dinner or something, but most likely these things are for a reason. They're networking with you for a reason.
Yes.
They want to find something. They want to know more about you for something bigger. Because if they were just wanted to give you a reward, they'd just give you a reward. They'd give you a $100 Amazon gift card or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's usually something else going on.
You're being vetted.
It probably, if I had to, take the guess, there's some form of upward networking happening. That's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. What's next?
Is clocking in the moment I get to work bad? He's there like 15 minutes early routinely.
Yeah. Well, do you get to work as soon as you get there?
Yeah, he clocks in as soon as he starts working. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then no. I mean, you leave 15 minutes early. Are you snagging 15 minutes of overtime at the end of the day that your company really doesn't want to pay you?
Though nobody said anything.
Well, maybe you should just ask your boss. Hey, what do you guys? Can I leave 15? I know I clock in every day because of my schedule. I just get here every day, and I don't like to hang out. And just talk to your boss. But this is one of the easiest conversations you can have with a boss in history, right? So I've just been kind of curious. Do you guys mind? They probably don't, but they will appreciate the maybe they'll let you go 15 minutes early. Or maybe they won't because they don't want everybody else. But then you get to clock in 15 minutes of overtime every single day over the course of an entire year. Adds up.
You can just put that into a little retirement fund.
Yeah, dude, just pass that little bit of extra away over the course of a year. It adds up. It's not necessarily a lot, but it's not a burger. It's no, it's enough to make a difference. But yeah, you may want, if you're feeling weird about it, you may want to bring it up and ask. But if they're not saying anything about it, it's not like they don't know. Right? They sign your check every week. They know how many hours you're working. It's not like they don't know. Maybe it's not full time, and so maybe it doesn't matter. So, yeah. So it depends. If you're a full time worker and you're clocking 15 minutes extra overtime, it's a vastly different thing. And then if you're supposed to be there for 6 hours, you're 6 hours and 15 minutes. They don't care because you're getting your work done. They're getting for pay. So it's a mutually beneficial arrangement. And maybe it is, even if it's getting 15 minutes of overtime, maybe it's a mutually beneficial arrangement at that cost as well, because to them, the work is getting done is more important than the 15 minutes of overtime every single day. But for you, it adds up at the end of the year. It doesn't add up on a weekly paycheck, $30 here, $40 there. But over the course of depending upon how much you make. I mean, if you're getting paid $50 an hour and that's $75 an hour, which is, yes, $30 here, $40 there, 30 a day, $30 a day extra, something like that. Adding up over the course of a year. Set of new tires. Okay, what's next?
Okay. Best ways to deal with a narcissistic, paranoid coworker when avoiding is not an option.
You just don't engage in anything but work. You don't worry about it. You do your job and don't worry about it. It's the only thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else is a drain on you. They don't care. So you have to manage your own self. And that is nothing but professional interaction. Don't engage, don't care. They're paranoid, so what? They have an opinion about you, so what? It's like, high school. You've left high school. They haven't. Treat them as such. That's my suggestion.
All right.
Okay.
Coworker bristles when I try to help.
Well, then don't try to help. You're obviously feeling like you're stepping on their toes, right? So for some reason, you're making them feel like you're stepping on the toes. So then don't. They feel like they've got it covered.
That was pretty easy.
Oh yeah. That's not a hard one. It's a very human reaction. They feel like you're coming into them and saying, "Hey, you're not good enough at this. I can do it." Right? They're not confident enough to accept help. So let them work through it themselves. Because whatever help you're trying to get, you give them, they're going to feel as an attack on their competence. And I was kind of started the conversation, right, with 3-year-olds kind of learning how learning about failure, learning how to fail. Well, 10-year-olds, I guess it was, learning how to fail. This is the same thing. This person has never learned how to fail. And so when you try to help, what they're interpreting is, I'm not competent. That you don't think I'm competent. And that would make you bristle. If a coworker came up to you and somehow made you feel that you weren't competent in your job, when you dang well know that you can get it, maybe not as fast as the other person, but I can get it. I'm just as good. Right? So when you try to help, tread lightly. Or maybe have a conversation about it sometime outside of, on a break coming back from lunch. Say, hey, I tried to help you and you seem to feel uncomfortable about that. I'm sorry. I was just trying to help. I didn't mean anything by it. And just leave it at that. Open the door. Apologize for accidentally stepping on her emotional toes. Yeah. Because that's not what you're trying to do, but that's how she interpreted it. And sometimes you can get the best relationships, work type relationships, out of things like that, because it opens the door of respect and understanding. Okay, on to some relationship questions. All right.
Okay. My ex messaged me yesterday saying she no longer wants to see our 2 kids and is happy to give them away in our divorce. How to navigate mixed emotions of this? I think she needs counseling. Something's wrong.
But not everybody is meant out to be parents, so something may be wrong, but we're not here to ask to answer her question. We're here to answer his. And at this stage, it's not his responsibility anymore. Now, here's what I would do. Your kids are always here when you want them, not when you want to see them. Whenever you want to see your kid, they're your children. They're here for you when you're ready, and you let her deal with whatever she's going through. This is a no Freudenschwein. Nope. God dang it. I knew I was going to mess that up. This is not a good feeling zone, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you're going to have to trust her that she knows right now she is not suited. That's what she's telling you. And so trust her, but leave the door wide open for her to re-engage with her children when she's ready. And you give that same message to your children. Your mother has stuff to deal with. And, you never blame her. She has things she has to go deal with. And she probably has to go through some counseling and has some issues to deal with. But that's on her. He can't deal with that anymore, right? He's got children to raise, a new life to create. His job, and it's not big for him, right? His job is to leave that relationship wide open for later engagement, for the best thing for the children. It's got nothing to do with her. It's got nothing to do with him, right? You do it because it's the best for the children. But she's telling you. And when someone tells you, I'm not suited for the children right now, you believe them. And let them go with what they're going through. And trust that over 9 times out of 10, they'll work their way back.
Mm-hmm.
But she has to go through whatever she's going through on her own. And be graceful on how you go through this, because let the grace of God go I, and all of that. And you do. The mixed emotions are real, right? You don't have to worry about a custody battle. That's you can essentially write your own custody agreement right now. Be kind. Be as kind as you possibly can. Would be my suggestion. And that's regardless of the gender roles on this. Be as kind as you possibly can in these at this point. Don't make things worse. Leave the doors wide open as you possibly. If you can economically handle raising the children on your own, do it. Not for her, not for them. And don't be bitter about it. Accept it. There's a lot of broken people on the streets because they get in a hole they can't get out of. They have an emotional break and they get in a hole they can't get out of, so they end up on the streets. Don't create that. Doesn't do any good. Can't suck blood from a turnip. So don't ask for it. Unless they have it, you know what I mean? But I'm somehow guessing she doesn't have the resources. So don't ask for resources she doesn't have. It's not kind. You wouldn't want it done to you. Okay. What's next?
My husband hurts me in his sleep but won't let me sleep in another room. What's next?
Oh, this one's actually easy. Double twin beds like they used to in the olden days. You know those things in the movies? We all thought that, but there was actually a period of time where you slept in double beds.
Yeah.
Twin beds, separate beds. Precisely because people arms flap around and people flap, it's what it is. So easy. That's the easiest solution.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get the nightstand in between you, kind of like a hotel room, but you'll live. Yeah. And nowadays they have great beds, right? You can actually you can each have like sleep number beds, or you're each hardness and softness and sitting up and down. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's would be the easiest solution is separate beds. You make separate beds.
Okay.
All right.
My girlfriend went through my phone and found porn. Now she's upset and possibly wants to break up. Is this warranted?
Well, is it warranted? Well, warranted is, whether the porn warrantedness is an individual thing. It's warranted if she wants it to be warranted. Now, of course, going through someone's phone is its own violation of relationship trust these days. It's, not everybody's us where we're just like, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, we have a standing whenever you want to.
You need to use my phone? Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
The stinking pen. Why are you asking me? Can I use your phone? You know the pin. What the hell are you asking me for? You can find it. It's the most often. But so there's two violations. You actually, in a sense, have a right to feel a little bit violated. And instinctively, I understand why women can find that upsetting, shall we say. So is it warranted? It is if she wants it to be, because she gets to write her own standards. You may not feel it's warranted. Well, then you're going to have to go find someone who doesn't necessarily mind.
And they're a little too old for this. They're early 30s.
Yeah, but I don't want to start a generational thing. Let's move on.
All right.
I don't think people at that age are as mature as they used to be, but I'm old, so I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy.
All right. My wife sent a sexy selfie to a male coworker. Should I confront her?
Probably. I would. How you want to go about it is the interesting question, but probably would be my guess. So, yeah. I don't have much of an answer for that one other than probably. What you got?
I would confront her.
Yeah. I'm not sure how. You're going to have to contemplate that one. Because I'd have to contemplate. Try not to be angry at the same time, but that's going to be hard. Good luck with that.
It's gonna be real hard.
Yeah. So I don't know. There could be, I suppose, a rational explanation, but yeah, I don't know. Good luck with that one. Okay, what's next?
My husband and I, who have been together 3 years and married on June 1st, that's a month ago, okay, are at the beach, and I caught him taking pictures of half-naked girls. How do I handle this?
So he's taking pictures on the beach, and because it's June. Yeah. Taking pictures on the beach is you're going to end up with getting pictures of half-naked girls. It's going to happen. Now, why is you deliberately taking pictures of half-naked? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tired this week. I don't have the answers to this one. How do you handle that? Because in a sense, in the modern world with so much content creation, it's hard for me to get worked up over this kind of thing in public, right? But at the same time, I don't know. It depends. The trip to the beach and whatnot. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this one. How's that?
You're at the beach. What did you think was going to happen? Well, maybe she thought he wouldn't take pictures.
Well,
He
yeah.
just uses peripherals like a real man.
Maybe he should be a little more discreet. Okay, but maybe he's not actually taking pictures of what you think he is.
Oh, please.
Okay, if I'm at the beach and I'm sitting there snapping pictures, what do you think I'm taking pictures of? There's beaches full of half-naked people. I can go back and show you on my Hawaii pictures at the beach. There's all kinds of half-naked women in the pictures of the Hawaii pictures. Do you think I was taking pictures of the naked women? Could have been. I could have very easily have been doing the exact same thing instead of just taking pictures of the beach and all the Waikiki beach and whatnot. Could have very easily been taking pictures of the mostly naked dancers and things that were in my camera shot. I wasn't. I didn't notice them during the camera shot until actually I got them, which was kind of annoying because but anyway. But what I'm saying is that by an observer, someone wouldn't have been able to tell what I was taking a picture of.
Yeah.
For all they know, I could have been was actually trying to take the picture of the lady who was wearing almost nothing, walked right in front of the camera. For all you know, that's what the picture I was meant to take, rather than I was just taking a picture of just the shot down the beach because it had the hotels on the one side, the boardwalk thing, all the various crowd of masses of people. And then, well, you couldn't see the ocean. It was dark enough where it was just kind of this darkness out there. It was kind of an ocean. You could see the beach, but then it just kind of went to the dark. So this big light thing. Exactly. But if anybody had been watching me, I'm taking pictures of this naked woman who's walking across right in front of me. Or the other one is, as I go up, I was walking up to the same Hawaii trip. For the love of God, the beaches and stuff will get you in so much trouble. I walked up, right? So as you walk up to the top of the volcano bridge, and you can see where the placements were for the World War II gun placements up there. Well, as you're walking down, you have these mostly naked women walking up, and they're steep enough where you have to look down, or otherwise you're going to fall and kill yourself. And so guess what you have to see every time that woman walks by? Boobs. That's it. And God forbid you get behind one of these things as you're walking up.
So you may have somebody wagging their butt in your face.
Just wearing thongs, walking up the things,
Wearing a thong.
Yes. Walking up and down hey, I don't mind. They're attractive ladies, but it makes you feel like an old perverted dude because you can't have, they're right in your vision. You have to look there. Otherwise you're going to fall on your face, which is even worse because then they're just going to think you're paying too much attention. And so anyway, I'm just saying sometimes you can.
You had a confusing time.
It was a difficult day. I'm just telling you, that was a difficult day. All right, what's next?
How do I tell my boyfriend I'm embarrassed of his social media? She's embarrassed about his content. It's not substantial.
So he doesn't mean it to be substantial. He doesn't want it to be substantial. His social media is a reflection of what he wants it to be. He doesn't want to post substantial stuff on social media. That's a private part of him. Social media is for laughing at stuff and having fun, and that's it. He doesn't want his whole self out on social media. There's nothing wrong with that. You use social media for a different reason than he does. It's fine. Except that he uses it differently. But he's probably posts a bunch of goofy memes, right? And that's kind of all he posts.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's part of.
Well, he's not making any social stands,
He's deliberately not making a social stance. That is a social stance. Just because you don't necessarily understand it doesn't mean it's not there. Just deliberately choosing to not engage in the political discourse is a choice. And everybody has the right to do it. This comes from someone who stands out at fairs and whatnots and talks to people about politics and issues of the day and everything. Everybody has the right to not participate. That is itself participation. It's saying no. I don't want a part of that. Or it's saying I'm too busy doing other things. I don't want to invest my time in it. Other people can deal with it. There's two ways, and either choice is valid. The rest of us who are engaged in what we may or may not like it, but it's completely valid. There's also a group of people who think, voting and engaging is its own active force, and so they don't do it for that reasons. So even that is a political, social stance. So you're not understanding his social stance. That's okay. But don't confuse that with him not making one. That isn't as not making one in a world as hyper politicized and hyper socialized and as it is today, is itself one. And by the way, meme culture is making a stance. You should probably examine it a little more carefully. And I would suspect you'd find a thread or a theme running through there. You just don't understand it because you dismissed it as a lack of substance, a lack of culture. No. It's like, comics on the old newspaper comic strips, right? They're no different. A lot of them do say a lot, but you have to be discerning. You actually have to pay attention. So, but you don't have to either. Let him have his thing. You have yours. Social media isn't your life together. Your life together is. Okay, so what do we got next?
Well, we have intimacy.
Okay,
guys, what makes a job that much more special?
Okay, now everybody will have their own little unique thing, but generically speaking, pretend like you actually are interested in doing it.
I knew it.
I mean, you can find the little one thing that, each person has some, everybody
maybe make some little noises
or whatever. Everybody has their things, stick a finger where the sun don't shine type of stuff. People all have their own little things, but the single biggest thing anybody can do is pretend like you actually enjoy it. That's all I'm saying.
Like having a good time, right?
Sure. Why? Just saying, it's hardly rocket science here. You don't even have to be good at it if you pretend you're liking it.
Well, just don't be a dead fish, I think, really.
Yeah.
Is key, and
yeah, just pretend like, maybe it's nice if you actually enjoyed it, but hey, if you can't tell the difference, you can't tell the difference, right? Put on your acting shoes for 10 minutes.
What about, the after coitus sum up?
What the heck are you talking about?
There's an after sex sum up
What are you talking about?
where you give compliments and I really like this. Can we do this again?
I suppose. I don't know. I don't think about those things.
You have to give a game rundown.
Oh my God! You know that at this stage we have no brain function. At that point, you do realize this. You guys are actually asking us to have brain function when we don't at that point. No wonder we are. It's amazing we have children. I mean, as a species. Okay, what's next?
How can I politely tell a guy that his penis smells stunky?
Oh, you're catching them at the end of the day is the most likely option on that one. So just encourage. The easiest thing is to encourage them to take a shower together before you engage in relations.
There you go.
Is the easy solution, because usually that's the kind of thing that happens. It's just he probably works for a living, works hard or someplace warm, and yeah, just like armpits, right? Places where sweat can accumulate can smell funky at the end of the day. But they also sell stuff these days, but the shower is a much better solution, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Unless you're into that kind of thing, then just go with it.
They got all kinds of products.
Yeah, but that's just like deodorant for the. Then
For
you're
your scrotum.
Yeah, but they have deodorant for everything now. They started it for women and their underboobs.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they just figured out it works everywhere. And so, yeah, not that any men are going to buy it, but people will buy it for their man. So yeah, just I don't want to say it's necessarily a hygiene issue. It's a timing issue would be my issue.
Yeah.
It would be my suspicion, more of a thing. And so then you just change up the timing. And you'd be surprised what you can actually tell people in the shower when you have your hand on his manhood. You could tell people all kinds of things when you're in that position. Yeah. Okay.
I still get embarrassed initiating sex. She's 30.
Is it embarrassment or is it fear of rejection?
Oh.
Those are two different things, but they can also often be confused. Right? Internally. It's two different things. You think it's embarrassed, but what really is, it's fear of rejection. Or maybe there's something about yourself that see, from a man's perspective, that's mostly going to be fear of rejection. So that's why, from a man's perspective, it's not that you're embarrassed about initiating sex. You're afraid of getting rejected for whatever reason. I suspect, but I don't know, a woman would have an even bigger, in a sense, fear of being rejected because it happens less. Men get used to it, getting rejected, kind of, to a point. It's why we're often so crass, because it's just another rejection. Women reject a woman, especially for the first time. You're not in the mood or something. Yeah, women don't take that well.
I internalized it. What did I do wrong?
Yeah, rather than, well, there's a medical issue or exhaustion or stress or, all the number of things that apply to women just as much as they apply to men. Just men are biologically programmed differently. So oftentimes we solve our stress with sex rather than the other way around. But often is not always. That's the key. Okay, what's next? Oh, we didn't even answer a question. Yes, it's perfectly normal to get embarrassed or have a fear of rejection when you're initiating. And the hope on that one is that you have a partner who is very kind, even if they are not in the mood to engage, regardless of gender, right? Regardless of what the gender differences is, it's hard for a human being to put that out there to somebody else who then might go, I'm not in the mood. I don't feel like it. My knees hurt, whatever the case may be. So, yeah. All right. What's next?
Wife can only orgasm, quote unquote, fully when screaming. So this is a problem with the neighbors.
Well, yeah.
They think something's wrong, and he has to explain. It's embarrassing.
Okay. There's this. Okay. Is it late enough? Oh, good. I can say this now. It's these things called ball gags. Just plop one in her and she'll be fine. I'd solve that solution, because my guess is she not going to want to give up those things, and so she'll find some compromise. She might even like it. Well, what did you do? Stop screaming, woman. It's not going to work.
No. I tried to be a little more selective about, when I would engage.
This is not going to help.
No, it had to be when people weren't home.
So now your sex life is now determined by other people's schedule in a world where people don't leave their house anymore. Yeah, that's going to work. I'm telling you, I've got the best solution for that one, because everybody still gets what they want. She can still scream her head off. The neighbors won't know, and he's got a satisfied wife. So
there you go. All right.
Try one.
That was a good one.
So try it. How's that? Just try some form of muffling device. Shall we say? We'll call it that. All right. What's next?
Porn gay boyfriend, false expectations.
It can do that.
And now they're 19 and he's wondering why she's not up to par.
But he's going to have to learn his lesson. Sometimes that's the hard way. Yeah, that's one of the dangers. That is one of probably the biggest danger of actually any entertainment, right? From old WWE, wrestling, right? Where kids don't understand that it's scripted. Those are stuntmen. It's not a real fight. Those are professionals who are out there doing a job, entertaining fans. Yes, it's very dangerous. And if they mess up one of those stunts, they can get seriously hurt. And it actually, when everything goes well, it still hurts. those guys take a beating, right? But it's entertainment. It's a scripted show. And the same thing is with adult entertainment. It's a scripted show. It's not real. Those people are professionals. Many of them are. You would call them, stunt workers as much as you'd call them sex workers. Some of the stuff they do these days, which is all fine and good. And as long as the rest of the world who's consuming this entertainment understands it's entertainment, it's no different than watching the Marvels. It's not real. It's good to engage in the fantasy, knock yourselves out, enjoy it. But no, there's no Thor isn't going to come down. There's no Iron Man. Well, even though Elon's thinking about building one of those things. If there's one moron who can pull off building an Iron Man suit, it would be Elon Musk. But but there's none yet. There's no Superman. There's no Hulk, right? And the same thing applies to adult entertainment. Sure, it's possible you can find those handful of women or men, in his case maybe, that can do those and like to do those kinds of things, because they do exist. But that's a shallow life if that's what your main goal is. If that's what your focus is on life, They're entertainers, they're actors, they're stunt people. They are putting on a show. And we as human beings have to remember that. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Should I be upset my husband masturbates more lately but hasn't increased sex with me?
Well, okay, before we go any farther, I'm going to have to ask her to ask herself a question. In the last period of time where you've noticed this, how many times has she said no? In the last 6 months. How many times has she said no? Have you tried to initiate more often? Is he turning you down? These things are rarely very simple. It's most likely, let's be honest, most men, when they masturbate more, it's a stress relief. It's not actually a sexual thing. Right? It's a stress relief thing at some point. So if you're actually seeing an increase in masturbation, what you're actually seeing, most likely seeing, is essentially a soothing technique. Something you stress something about. So take that with what you will. I don't know what to do with that because she's the one in the relationship. She'll know what the stress may or may not be. Maybe she's the stress. Maybe she's not. It's most likely something else. Financial stress. There's a lot of that going around these days.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of businesses are on the edge. People having to make decisions to lay people off. I don't know what his job is or whatever, but there's all kinds of causes. And so if what he is doing is self-soothing, then you want to be more compassionate than if he's actually avoiding you. Right? There's two different issues there. Yeah. If he's turning you down and then going into his office, okay, it can happen on occasion because
you know what we think.
Yeah.
The other woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pixels on the screen. Yeah, we care more about the pixels on the screen than you. The pixels on the screen are free. If we cared more about the pixels on the screen, then we wouldn't deal with all the other stuff. So I'm just saying, pixels on the screen don't complain about us leaving the clothes on the floor, and so it's not the pixels on the screen. It's most likely stress relief of some form or another. What that stress is the open question, and maybe you can help him with that. Or maybe it's, leave him alone for a little while. You probably know. You probably have a thing that he's either going through something at work, or maybe his mother's sick, or, who knows. And, stress on one side, expert on the other. Don't have to make sense. Right? There's no necessary connection. So that would be my guess. If I'm being my kindest me. Yeah, that would be my guess.
Yeah.
So, all right. That's it for us this week. We are out of here. I hope to see you again next week. Well, we shall see you again next week. Maybe it might be late, might be not. But we shall see. I think I've got a full next Saturday, so I don't think I have to work next Saturday either. But I don't know for positive, so we shall see. And it's after 10, so hey, Rodney closed the shop up good. Didn't needed me. That's good news.
There we go.
And so for you, we'll see you guys next week. And please remember to love everybody and have a good night.
Good night.